folks, welcome back to another Poem Mass video. So today, now that the year is ending, we got what, 2 years of seasonals now, right? I thought we'd do a post going the first Christmas units count because they're like I mean they count as units, but like in terms of like years, I don't know, it's weird. The game started in like August, but anyways. Basically 2 full cycles of seasonals plus 1 set of Christmas units from the first year, right? So, you know, I thought we'd go over them and see where they're at. I am only including the ones that have the seasonal banners, like the seasonal step up and you know, 7% rate, all that stuff. So we're not including the master fairs, just the regular ones. Right. I was even thinking of like maybe not including special costume ones because like they are like seasonal banners, but like they're not like seasonal. They're just like a thing that happens. Anyways, regardless, we'll include them, but not the anniversary master fair ones, right? Because those are they're I don't know, they're different, even though they're still seasonal. But I mean, you guys don't even need me to tell you how good they are. They're really good units. So. Anyways, let's check these out. And actually, before we check this out, a quick word from our sponsor of this video. First, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Boxu. Boxu is a premium Japanese snack subscription that delivers snacks to your home straight from Japan with different monthly themed boxes from 100-year-old Japanese family snack makers. There's so many different themes in each box each month, so I can always look forward to new flavors. Let's see what Boxu sent us for our second box. All right, so the second one's called Hokkaido Holidays, right? So obviously for the holiday season, right? So that makes a lot of sense. So let's check what's in here. Here's some corn tea. First of all, here's what are these? These are potato sticks. I love potato sticks, actually. What else? White chocolate chips. These are I love chips, my favorite food in the world, and I love white chocolate as well. So let's try a few of these. All right, I'm gonna try this apple flavored gummies first. All right. Oh, these are really good because I love apple flavored candy, and obviously this one works. I do want to check out these potato sticks as well. All right. Yeah, these are definitely really good. They're like dried French fries. As you can see, it's from Hokkaido over there, right, on the packaging. All right, there's even like Hokkaido melon chocolate, just a lot of different, a lot of snacks from the Hokkaido region, right? Which again fits the theme very well. What's this? Oh wow, a whole bag of popcorn, look at that. The event's still going on right now that not only brings the Japanese snack experience to your house, but also gives you a chance to win a free trip to Japan. Use my code POSTAD and link in the description box down below to become eligible to win the giveaway by subscribing to Boxu. My code will get you 10% off of your subscription, so don't miss out on this unique opportunity available for anyone who subscribes until December 31st, and also a great holiday gift for your friends and family. So, all right, let's get back to the video. All right, so now let's get back to it. So over here, right, I've put them in order. So we're gonna do this in order, and I think we're gonna separate the damage dealers from the supports, right? So we'll do the damage dealers first, then we'll do the supports. We'll separate them because it's really awkward trying to, like, you know, rank them you know, against each other, right? So yeah, anyways, obviously just my opinion, right? It's not this is not the Holy Bible of whatever, although if you want to make it that's feel free to do so. Although I wouldn't agree in doing that. That's kind of weird. But yeah, anyways, starting this off. So Rose Santa is a support. So again, we're not going to do supports just yet. We'll do supports in a bit. So starting off, the first one would be over here, would be Seabold, right? Seabold and Octillery, which unfortunately could have been better. Could have been better, right? He's not that bad of a unit overall. It's just the fact that he doesn't have a techie axe kind of sucks for him, right? Because his whole thing is he's a big sink nuker, which again, he does a very good job at that. But without the techie axe, he just falls a bit short against some of the other water nukers, right? Unfortunately. Again, he does fun stuff, right? The accuracy down burn is nice, right? If you run him with a May, you get that, you know, the extra accuracy down for hide and sink, which is cool, all that stuff. But yeah, overall, slightly unfortunate, right? I guess his overall DPS isn't like super great either, right? Despite being water type. So yeah, again, he's just a big one nuke unit. So unfortunate. Next one's Lyra, probably around the same place, right? Lyra's DPS isn't that great anymore, right? At this day and age, she does have a very, very, you know, it's a slow team, but it's an effective team where, you know, if you do run her with Serena, right, you are always having the opponents, you know, put to sleep, which is good, right? But overall, your damage is not that great, right? Because then you'll have Serena, instead of having Serena do damage, you're just having Serena use Hypnosis every turn. And then you do need another support to buff your stats, so you're just not getting that much damage in, right? Unfortunately. Moving on, let's see. Ice Steven's okay. His damage is not good, but he still gives you Hail on Sync, which is nice, right? Run him in Hail teams, good stuff happens, generally, right? Although, again, at this point, there are better Hail setters, right? But he's still fine. He's still fine. He's just not anything crazy, right? Moving on, the Halloween units. Hilbert's pretty good. Just his regular damage is not like insane, but yeah, he has a decent DPS. Nuke's not terrible either. The biggest upside for him is Speron's really nice, right? He's pretty self-sufficient. Again, you could slot him in as a secondary damage healer, and generally you should be fine gauges wise, right? Especially if you target the sides first. So that is definitely a nice upside, right? And especially if you do have him at Striker EX, right, when you AoE sync, that's really good as well. Again, just for keeping gauges up, it's almost like you know, if you KO the sides, it's almost like you get a rejuvenation on that, right? So yeah, that's that. Ace Roll is one of the worst ones, unfortunately. As much as I love this unit, well, the costume wise, all that stuff. As a unit, she's just like, wow, she's bad. A few things. First of all, she does have a solid ghost type sync, right? But outside of that, her ghost type damage is bad, and not only is it bad, it's limited, right? I don't know why they even did this. Like, why did they limit her chances so much? Like, it's not like she does good damage. She does terrible damage. But why do they limit it to quick moves that both need MP to function? This one is terrible, obviously, in comparison to these two. Both moves need MP to function. And then you only get MP-R2 on both. You only get MP... well, that's Chris Strike 2, but you only get MP-R2 on either of these. Why? This is terrible. Anyways, yeah, unfortunate. Skyla's fine, right? Skyla's pretty good, actually, I'd say. She gives your team the random stat buffs, which are, you know, always a pleasant surprise if you get some good stats off of that. On top of that, really good sync nuker, obviously, as well. Get some flinches in relatively fast, so that's what I like from tech nukers, right? From tech units that their sole or their main purpose is to nuke the opponent, not to do, you know, a lot of DPS, whatever, which I'm not saying Togekiss can't. Togekiss could do some solid DPS, just the setup takes you know, some luck and time, right? But that's what I like from tech nukers, just have a decent nuke and have some decent speed, right? If not, you know, give your team some speed as well. That would also be very much appreciated. And Skyla just does that. Very, you know, simple, straightforward. Well, not simple, but the function is straightforward. The method of getting everything is not as simple, right? Which is why she's not better, right? Her multipliers are just a bit of a pain to set up overall, right? You got stuff like Dirty Fighting over here. Rising Tide's not that terrible, but you definitely do need the buffs somewhere, right? So it's not terrible, but yeah, I have to status the opponent as well. So, but once you do get set up, it's really nice, right? So moving on, she's a support. He is pretty good, right? He's just Mr. Solid Damage. He's just Mr. Solid Damage, right? Nothing too fancy, nothing too whatever, right? He's just a solid 700, 800k damage. Boom. Off of Hyper Beams, right? Especially when you run him with Kyogre, right? Makes him even better. Works perfectly because Kyogre boosts special attack moves on top of giving him rain for his rain multipliers, right? So, yeah, not that great of a sync nuke. You'd almost never want to sync with him. Just sync with your EX support or your other striker nuker in this case, and then boom, you get even stronger Hyper Beams. So yeah, Good unit, right? Just very, very simple, straightforward, to the point. You hyper beam the opponent, they die. All right, moving on. Paladin Serena is fantastic, right? AoE team speed buffs, which is one of the best things in the game that you could get. You get Moonblast that hits relatively hard, right? You could AoE debuff the opponent's speed. You could AoE paralyze the opponent, and you have one of the easiest and strongest, to setup ratio, whatever that means, sync nukes in the game, right? So super powerful nuke. Really easy to set up nuke as well, right? Helps your team tremendously. Can deal some solid DPS as well, and yeah, that's what you want from a tech unit. This is like the archetype of a powerful tech unit, right? Moving on. Mei, also kind of like Serena, right? Very similar to Serena, except obviously her sync move is terrible, right? But she does have very good DPS with high jump kick. That's definitely very good. The only unfortunate thing is your first sync, you're doing like nothing. You're turning her into Megalopony, which obviously Megalopony is very powerful. And then pre-sync, again, you get the defense buff for your team, you get the speed buffs for your team, right? Potions, all that stuff. And then post sync, you have a very powerful high jump kick. The only one thing holding her back is that first sync kind of sucks, right? But everything after that, everything before that is fantastic, right? Amazing unit. Moving on. Let's see. Burst support. Marnie. Marnie's really good. Marnie does multiple things well, right? Marnie's DPS is not terrible, right? Marnie's nuke is pretty good. Marnie can tank really well, right? Because Marnie buffs, you can max out Marnie's attack, defense, crit, special defense, right? And speed on her own, easily, right? Bulk up maxes out attack and defense in three moves, right? Because double buffer, and then you have critical infliction. You use bulk up 3 times, you max out your crit, and then not today, boom, on top of having your attack, defense, crit max out, you now have your special defense and speed max out as well. On top of that, you also have gradual healing now, so you're a pretty reliable tank, right? Which is very good if you are running triple damage healer comps, which there are not that many units in this game that could make that happen, and Grimstar is one of those units, right? Very special unit. Moving on, let's see. Gloria is really nice as well. I think she is slightly overlooked. I might even want to move her up one. Yeah, I'll move her up one. She's a bit overlooked, I feel like, just because there's so many powerful water types in this game. But that doesn't mean Gloria herself is bad, right? She's very powerful. With Kyogre, she's definitely, up there, right? In terms of a 700k, 800k damage dealer, right? With the super effective up that you could get. Her nuke's not bad too. She's pretty fast, right? Just a very fast, strong, hitter. Again, just gets overshadowed by all the other incredible water types in the game. But again, that doesn't take away from how good she is in of herself, right? She does have not that great of a setup, right? Her setup's not the best, but outside of that, incredibly powerful unit. Moving on, Caitlyn support. Morty is like Acerola, but with, I think, a weaker sync, but more sustainable in the damage, right? Like, Acerola, again, like, you just don't have MP on your really terrible moves. Bennett has infinite MP on your terrible moves, so that's the upside for Bennett over Acerola, right? With a searing quick combo every time you quick move, you get the MP back when the opponents are burned. That's all. Yeah, I think overall Acerola does a bit more damage, but Bennett's a bit more sustainable for like longer battles, so they're both not that great, unfortunately. Guzma is pretty good, right? Obviously very inconsistent, right? Bit of a risk to run, always, right? But overall, on average, right? If you're just getting your average luck, he is a pretty powerful damage dealer, right? He has got a pretty powerful sync. right? He sets up really easily, just, you know, one trainer move himself, and boom, got everything set. Not the fastest unit in the game, unfortunately, so that is definitely a bit of a downside, but overall damage very, very solid. Again, assuming you just have average luck, assuming you're not getting completely screwed over by RNG, he's definitely a very, very solid, overall great damage healer, right? So, there's that. Let's see, Keldeo is definitely up here. Keldeo is definitely a step above most of the units in this game. Keldeo is like Marnie, except with very, very good DPS, right? A better sync nuke, and debuff some of the most important stats on the opponent: the special defense, and speed. And you gain that back up. Keldeo is not as good of a tank as Marnie is, right? Just because Marnie buffs herself up a bit faster than Keldeo does, right? But if you are running another, you know, support to help with that, it does mitigate that, right? But Keldeo is just an all-around, like, it's like Keldeo just does everything on your team. Does everything on your team. Does the DPS, does the nuking, does the debuffing, right? Does the tanking. Like, it's like I don't know. It's like, what's a good, it's like prime Russell Westbrook for those who watch basketball, right? He does everything very, very well. Obviously at the moment he's not, you know, whatever, but very, very, very powerful unit that does everything for your team, right? Does everything for your team. Moving on. Hilda's very powerful as well, right? Hilda's very, very powerful as well. She does get that extra gauge, you know, cost decrease when you mega, which is nice, although it's not like the biggest deal in the world, so you don't really have to mega her, right? Which is an upside, right? It's nice when you you have a mega and you don't really have to mega it, right? So you could use your EX support instead. But you can also mega it. It's not like it's a bad thing. You get a sync nuke, right? That's not bad. And then you have again the cost decrease in your attacks, and she has very, very good damage on her attacks, right? Even though, despite being AoE, it's definitely just solid damage, right, on her attacks. It's really, really nice. What else do we have? Ice Q. I'd say it's fine, right? Her numbers are pretty similar to Ice Steven, honestly. Her numbers are pretty similar to Ice Steven. It's just that the method of setting hail is just better, right? It's just the ability to use hail without having to sync is just straight up better than having to sync every time, because then obviously you could sync with some other units, right? That could be better, whether it be an EX support, whether it be you know, something like a Holiday Leon, or I don't know, Candace, if for some reason you're running. That's with Candace. Although her own sync's not too bad either, right? It's not anything great, but again, it's not terrible either, right? So there's always that option as well. Yeah, it's just that, I guess. Bit faster, right? Yeah, it's, you know, multipliers aren't as bad, right? It's just you just need speed and super effective to max out her her stuff, right? So there's that. And Leon is obviously very, very good as well, right? By the way, these aren't ordered from left to right. These are just ordered. I just pulled them up from whenever they got released, right? So Leon's fantastic, right? He has the AoE freeze, right? He's a straight up 800k damage healer range, right? Which is fantastic. Again, AoE damage, but again, the AoE does give you the AoE freeze, right? Best freeze in the game by far. Sync's not bad either. Damage wise not bad for a striker at least. But the setup's not the best. But again, he is the best at doing that, so you know, it's not that terrible. And also being a striker, having your setup turns not completely go to waste is really, really nice as well. He does recoup, you know, 40% of the damage every time he sets up instead of uses attack, which is fantastic. So he's just an overall just great unit, right? All right, well, let's talk about the supports. Supports. Delibird, again, don't compare it to like the damages, just the supports comparing to themselves, I guess. Delibird's fine, right? Ice teams are better now. Although I'm still not a huge fan of running Delibird and Ice teams. Just because of, you know, some things that she doesn't buff, right? She just buffs like almost everything, but you know, or it doesn't buff well. Again, she can buff crit. It's just not, she's just not that great at doing it. And she's also not the best tank in the world or the most reliable tank. She could be decently tanky if you roll the right, you know, defense buffs on herself, right? But, you know, if you don't, then she's gonna go down relatively fast, even with like stuff like Ice Shell or whatever, right? But yeah, her move gauge acceleration is awesome. Obviously, the random stats could come in clutch, right? She's a reliable, at least, physical attack buffer and you know, speed buffer, right? So there's that. Holerica is, she's not that good, right? At the moment, she is a fantastic tank, right? Don't get me wrong, she's a fantastic tank. But the problem with Holerica is she doesn't do anything else. She doesn't do anything else for your team. She could be very, very good in stuff like the upcoming Legendary Gauntlet. That could be something you could look forward to, right? If you're a Holerica owner, she could definitely be very, very good in the Legendary Gauntlet, right? Because units like these, like really, really sustainable tanks, definitely are very, very good. Like, you guys see how great Xerneas is, and that's one of the problems with Holerica as well. Like, Xerneas is just, you know, Xerneas just overall better. But yeah, you guys see how great Xerneas is. Holerica does similar things, just not as good, right? Overall. Let's see what else. Rabambi is pretty decent. She buffs crit, which is always nice to see. She buffs evasion, which is pretty rare in this game, right? She has leech life, which is you know, she's not that great of a you know, self healer, but it helps, right? It helps. Evasion stuff is cool. Again, downside is leech life, 3 gauge move. That's tough on your gauges, so you have to build very, very specific teams to make her work so that you could still sustain your team's gauges while having her work as a support, right? So that is definitely, you know, the one downside there. All Creamy is fantastic still, right? All Creamy is fantastic. The potential for AoE, -2 special defense debuffs, -2 attack debuffs are all obviously going to be very, very, very nice. She also, again, can buff your team's attack, special attack, right? Gives gradual heals, all that stuff. It's just a very all-around good utility unit, right? Just a great all-around utility unit. Berg is fantastic, right? Berg's fantastic. The crit buffs are nice. The attack, special attack buffs are not that great. They're kind of slow. But outside of that, the defense buffs are good, the potions are good. Metronome is very, very underrated. Not because, oh, there's like a 0.0003 chance of getting like Fisher or whatever. No one cares about Fisher. Metronome is underrated because of how long that animation time is. That animation time is long. And if you're wondering, you know, who cares animation? The longer the animation time, the longer you have time, you know, on your side to regen gauges, right? Because it has to do the finger wag first, and then it has to do the move animations. That's like 2 animations into like 1 move, right? So you're getting much, much longer time to regen your gauges, which is fantastic. He also has move gauge acceleration, I think, on sync as well, right? Something like that. The potions, all the stuff, he's very, very good. Caitlyn's really nice, right? It's just a nice support that buffs a lot of things, except for crit, right? Buffs a lot of things, just no crit. But those things are really nice things, right? You got the speed, both defenses, attack, right? Pretty good tank as well. You could on sync give your team, you know, the barriers and crit shield. So even though it's just wands, but still, right? Just a overall very, very good support. Kind of like, reminds me of Elio a bit, right? Kind of like that. And then Celesteela is obviously up here, right? One of the best special supports in the whole game, right? You know, max out your team special attack, crit, right? Gives special defense as well, regen, got absorb, that's a 1 gauge, you know, move. Only downside is kind of slow, right? Kind of slow. Physical defense also not that great, right? But outside of that, just a fantastic, fantastic support overall. So anyways, yeah, that's really this one, I guess. Hope y'all enjoyed. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like, share this video, subscribe to my channel for some more upcoming content. I'll see you guys in the next one then.